All right, what is up? Good morning, everybody. Matt Modi here with another NBA live stream of Fast Break Bets presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, live every Wednesday and Friday at 11 a.m., going through the entire betting slate. For today, we have a monster 14-game slate, everybody, but two teams are playing tonight. Unfortunately, there are two games that don't currently have player props listed, so we're going to sit those out. It's the Hornets Bulls and the Magic Nuggets. So we're not going to have anything for those two games. We're going to have 12 picks total. And I'll say if you want to bet those specifically, I would just recommend checking the Betting Pros cheat sheet, the recommended picks later in the day, as soon as odds get posted. As for our last stream on Wednesday's stream, about as even as you can get. We went 6 and 7 with our picks, but thanks to the fact that we had some plus money bangers cash, we were profitable, albeit very, very slightly up 0.1 units. But hey, you take 13 bets over the course of a day and you're up. We'll take that. That brings our total profit on the year. We are up 6.5 units with an ROI of 3.16%. We've had horrible luck on Fridays in the past. Let's hope that that doesn't happen tonight. Make sure to subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel if you're not already. Share the link with your friends. And most importantly, get any questions, comments in the chat. I already see some people in here, which is awesome. Tyshawn Bland, let's go. What's up? Deacon Frost, good morning to you as well. Andre Singer, always appreciate you. Carl, yes, last night was great. We went 3-0. Let's hope again we can continue that today. And Norlando Adams, thanking me, thank you for joining. And of course, you can find me any social media you want at Jedi Modi. And let's get into it. So first play of the slate in the Jazz versus Celtics game. Collin Sexton over 1.5 made three-pointers, also known as 2+ made three-pointers. This is on DraftKings at plus 180. And if you really want to get spicy, which I am doing myself, take him to make 3 or more three-pointers. You can get this at plus 650 odds. The Celtics defense is very good, but this is a play based on how the Celtics play defense. Again, they're very good. They will let point guards score. And for this prop, more importantly, they will let point guards shoot. Looking at their previous matchups, last game, they played the Thunder. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander made 3 three-pointers on an over-under of 0.5. De'Aaron Fox, a little bit of a better shooter than Sexton and SGA. He made 6 three-pointers on an over-under of 2.5. Cade Cunningham, a little bit in the middle of everybody we've talked about. He made 4 on an over-under of 1.5. As good as the Celtics defense is, again, one area in which they do allow a lot of points is to point guards, and they allow them to shoot a lot of 3-point attempts as well. I had to triple check these numbers to make sure that I was correct, but 14 of the last 15 point guards against the Celtics have gone over their 3-point over-under. That is insane. And that also includes a couple of them, like I previously mentioned, going over their 3-point over-under by multiple threes, meaning over-under of 1.5, making 3, over-under of 2 on 2.5, making 4, making 5, like Cade, like De'Aaron Fox and SGA, all that. So, looking at my notes here, Sexton, looking at him specifically, he's only hit this in one of his last 7 games, but in that game, he did make 3 three-pointers. Overall, in the last 10 games, he has made 3 three-pointers 3 times. I know I said the number 3 a lot, so just to confirm, he's made 3 three-pointers 3 times in the last 10 games. Again, the official play is over 1.5. I do like taking 3+ for such juicy odds. In terms of the unit size, quarter unit on a lot of these juicy ladder plays, including this one. Scott, morning. Thank you for joining. That's our first play. Next up, Hawks versus Pacers. Jalen Johnson, 20+ points, plus 130 odds at DraftKings. This is another situation where I am laddering this up as well, up to 25. Side note, because we have such a massive slate, I'm going to have a lot of ladder plays today. Unless you hear me say otherwise, they're going to be for a quarter unit, and we're only going to track the official play that you see on the in the chat that I give out. So for this one, unlike Sexton, we are not fading recent results. Jalen Johnson has been playing very well recently. I will admit that does make me a little nervous because you all know how I like to fade recent results, but I don't think that is what we should be doing for this game tonight. Now, Johnson has missed a lot of time due to injury, but when he's been on the court, he's been very good for the Hawks, and that includes recently since he's returned from injury. That also includes and is coincided with DeAndre Hunter being out of the lineup, who is once again missing the game tonight. With DeAndre Hunter off the court, nobody on the Hawks has a higher usage rate increase than Jalen Johnson. It's the biggest increase in usage rate of anybody on the Hawks when DeAndre Hunter is not on the floor. And luckily for us, for this play, Johnson has rewarded the Hawks with very, very stellar play, especially recently. Past 2 games, both without Hunter, he scored 24 and 28 points. He's at the 4th highest usage rate on the team as well in that span. Now for tonight, he gets a very juicy matchup against the Pacers. They're a travesty on defense. They give up the most points per game to power forwards in the NBA by a very wide margin. Obviously, that is a little bit of an outlier because of Giannis's 64 points, but that's still only one game. The Pacers allow 28.1 points per game to power forwards. The next highest team is at 26.7. Over a point difference is massive. So let's hope that Johnson can stay hot for us, cashing our official play and hopefully cashing our ladder play as well. Next up, Thunder versus Nets game. We're taking Nic Claxton under 23.5 points plus rebounds. This is at plus 110 odds at DraftKings. And this is an awesome play. Not only is it a positive expected value play that I found on Betting Pros, this is also a very good play just from a line shopping odds perspective as well. Starting with Betting Pros, again, I did say it's positive EV, 38.7 positive expected value play. Betting Pros gives him a 66.1 chance of going under. We're getting this for plus money, plus 110 odds. That's very good value. And Betting Pros projects him to have 20.7 of this stat as well. And we just need him to get under 23. From an odds perspective, as I mentioned, it's very good there as well. Plus 110 at DraftKings. Literally every other book has this for even money, which just means equal amounts of juice on each side, meaning the over is priced at minus 115 and the under is priced at minus 115. What that is telling you is the sports books think that this is a 50-50 outcome when they're charging equal amounts of juice on each side. DraftKings is giving us a great price at plus 110. Now, looking at Claxton on the year, he's only gone over this number in 7 of 25 games and in 4 of his last 10. Now, I will admit one of those games he went over was against the Thunder, but I like fading him in this matchup for all the reasons I mentioned as our third play. And before I get into the next one, I want to talk to you about the Betting Pros Discord. So if you're looking to up your game in sports betting, look no further than the exclusive Discord community. You can find it, bettingpros.com/chat. I'm in there. Also, who's in there? Betting Pros has gathered a team of expert handicappers. You can find free picks. I want to highlight the free part for, I know the season's winding down, but NFL, we still have the national championship. You can find picks for that game in college football. Then we have NBA, NHL, college basketball, maybe some golf in there if you're into that, maybe some tennis, anything you can look for, player props, live betting, futures, all that stuff is in there. So get in on the action, connect with people like yourselves, who I'm assuming is a sports betting enthusiast. You can also elevate your own betting strategy by getting advice from the pros. So join us in the Discord. Take your sports betting experience to the next level. Next up, the Wizards versus Cavaliers game. We're taking Jarrett Allen over 20.5 points. This is at plus 120 odds at DraftKings. So another play that I'm laddering up a little bit, this time to 25 plus points as well. Now, this is a flip-flop method type of play. If you're new to the stream, you don't know what that means. Flip-flop method is basically where you bet the opposite of whatever just happened. And it works a lot in the playoffs. It also works a lot in situations like this, where these two teams literally just played on Wednesday. They're playing themselves in back-to-back games, not on a back-to-back, but in back-to-back games. In that game, Jarrett Allen went under, so we're basically betting the opposite of that one. Now, obviously, it doesn't work for every single player prop. You need to look into it a little bit more, but I do like Jarrett Allen in this one. In that game, the Cavs beat the living crap out of the Wizards. Allen only scored 17 points. Of course, because the Cavs won by 1 million, Jarrett Allen played fewer than 30 minutes. That's well below his season average. Now, obviously, a blowout could happen once again tonight. That is in the realm of possibilities. But because that last game was a blowout, I think the game tonight will be a little bit closer. And the matchup against the Wizards is so juicy for centers who live in the paint, which is Jarrett Allen. Over the past month, the Wizards are allowing the second most points per game, specifically to centers in the NBA. In the same span, they are allowing the second most points per game in the paint as well. That's obviously where Allen does all of his damage. He's not a center that has a massive bag like Embiid or Jokic, but he's still a good center and he can score inside. Unsurprisingly, 99% of his shot attempts come in the paint, 240 of 259 to be exact. 240 of 259 of his shot attempts come in the paint. 166 of those come within the restricted area. Obviously, a very high shot percentage on those because they're so close to the basket. Now, Allen has gone under in 2 straight games, but prior to that, he scored 30 points against the Bucks, 24 points against the Mavs. So I think that it swings back to him scoring in this one, hopefully cashing our official play of over 20.5, hopefully cashing our ladder play to 25 as well. Next up, Knicks versus 76ers game. Tobias Harris under 23.5 points plus rebounds, plus 110 odds at DraftKings. I promise I didn't just mix up the stat and the odds with the Nic Claxton play. This is also the play for Tobias Harris. This is another play that I found on Betting Pros, the app, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It's a positive EV play of 38.3%, giving Tobias a 65.9% chance of going under with a projection of 21.2 in this stat. And again, I did not just steal the same information from the Claxton one. It applies to both. This is also a really good play from an odds perspective. Not quite as good as the Claxton one, but still very good. The closest book has this at minus 104. Most books have it at minus 110 up to minus 120. So we are getting a good price here. Looking at Tobias, he's such an uneven player, but he's so uneven in such a predictable way. He'll play good for a stretch, then he'll be terrible. And it's very predictable when that happens. At the beginning of the year, Tobias was awesome. He hit the over in 10 of his first 14 games played. Then he missed it in 8 straight. And he also missed it in 12 of 13. So after hitting it in 10 of 14, he missed it in 12 of 13. Since then, it started to swing back the other way, and he's playing well. He's now hit this in 5 of his last 6 games. So it might not be exactly tonight, but it will start to swing back the other way because that's just how Tobias is. He's been that way ever since he's been on the Sixers. And in the matchup against the Knicks, I like fading him tonight. Now, the Knicks aren't the best defense in the NBA, but they do play aggressively, and that bothers Tobias. He needs space to get shots up. He needs about 10 feet of space and needs to be able to read a book before he decides he wants to shoot from 3. He's not a quick decision maker. So I think fading him is the way to go tonight. Hopefully he can not come through by coming through for us in that way. Next up, Timberwolves versus Rockets game. Anthony Edwards under 29.5 points, minus 115 odds at DraftKings. It's our only non-plus money banger, and this is probably one of the scariest plays that we'll have today, but I do really like it. It's a positive expected value play on Betting Pros. Projected to score only 25.4 points in this one. So if you wanted to deflate his point total down a little bit to get plus money odds, you could. I decided not to do that. I wanted to stick with the best value, which was on the under 29.5. They give him a 67.5% chance that he goes under, and it's a 26.1% expected positive EV play. Can't remember if I mentioned that part or not. This one, the ultimate fade of recent events. Anthony Edwards has been awesome recently. He's scored 30 or more points in 4 straight games, in 5 of 6, and in 7 of 10. So yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said this one is scary. I'll label this the Pepto play of the day, meaning it's going to make your stomach queasy. So just have some Pepto to settle you down a little bit. But with that said, I do like betting on the dip in this one, that point total is going to come down. Eventually it will, right? He's not going to score 30 points for every game the rest of the season. It's going to start to swing back the other way. And it makes sense for it to swing back tonight in a tough matchup against the Rockets. Now, the Rockets defense isn't quite as good as it was at the beginning of the year, but they're still significantly better at home than they are on the road. On the road, the Rockets allow 115.8 points per game. That's 14th in the NBA, so they're roughly middle of the pack on the road. At home, that number goes all the way down to allowing 105.3 opponent points per game. That is the second lowest in the NBA in terms of all home teams. So I know every team gets a bump at home. Not every team has as dramatic of a bump between the Rockets, or from home in a way, as the Rockets do. Over the past month, the Rockets are allowing only 22.5 points per game, specifically to shooting guards. That's the 10th lowest in the NBA in that span. So yeah, not among the lowest, but still very good. So take a shot of Pepto and fade Anthony Edwards with me, taking him to go under 29.5 points. Before I get into the next pick, I want to talk to you about a 1-year premium subscription giveaway. If you want a chance to win a premium 1-year subscription to Betting Pros, it's a place where you can bet smart, not bet hard. I'm going to detail in a little bit exactly how I use the app. But if you do want that 1-year premium subscription giveaway, all you need to do is subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel and then comment. Hopefully you're already subscribed. If not, please click that subscribe button. And then you need to comment. Once you do that, you are entered, and we're going to announce a winner on the channel. So make sure to have your notifications on so you can be alerted when new episodes drop and claim your prize. So we're halfway done. We are 6 picks deep. Next up, in the Clippers versus Pelicans game, we're taking James Harden, 10 plus assists, plus 110 odds at DraftKings. For those of you that tuned in on Wednesday, we were on Harden assists in that game. He came through for us in a much more difficult matchup against the Suns, at least from just a purely defensive perspective. The Clippers smoked them, but regardless, a lot of the notes you're going to hear are going to be similar to Wednesday's show. So I'm sorry if you did tune in for repeating myself. If you did not tune in, so Harden had a rough start to the year. He only got to 10 assists in 3 of his first 18 games. Since then, he's done it in 6 of 10, including doing it in 3 straight games as well. Also, the reason why I like this play is Kawhi is back in the lineup. He missed about a week or so earlier in December. And unsurprisingly, in games that Kawhi Leonard plays, James Harden racks up more assists. James Harden has to 10 or more assists in 5 of the last 6 games that he's played with Kawhi. Harden's been awesome. The Clippers have been awesome. And these are not results that I want to fade. I want to actually back them. So as much as I like fading recent results, it's not something that I do literally every single time. So Harden, his hot streak started on December 14th. So if you look at the data starting on that date, Harden is 6th in the NBA with 14.8 potential assists in that span. When Kawhi is on the floor, his assist rate is even higher. This is also a great matchup against the Pelicans. They're listed as the easiest matchup in the NBA for guard assist prop over unders. So I like Harden. He's been hot. Let's hope he can stay hot. Cash this play once again for us. Next up, Blazers versus Mavericks. We're taking Luka Doncic, 10 plus assists. This is at plus 110 odds according to the Betting Pros consensus. Best offered at plus 110. This is similar to the Jarrett Allen one, where it's a flip-flop method type of play. The Mavs and Blazers just played on Wednesday. Luka only had 5 assists in that game. Now, that game was also a complete blowout in which Luka scored 41 points, 30 of which were in the first half. He's amazing. That could absolutely happen again. I think this game tonight is going to be a little bit closer. And also, Luka had been on fire from an assist perspective prior to that game. So last game, he had 5. Prior to that game, he had gotten to 10 or more assists in 10 of the last 13 games that he's played. That includes 2 games in December in which Luka played the Blazers and he cashed 10 plus assists. Luka's 3rd in the NBA, both in total assists per game. He's also 3rd in the NBA in potential assists with 16.9 potential assists per game. And since December 1st, that number has actually gone up. Since December 1st, Luka's averaging 19.4 potential assists per game, needing to get roughly 10 below that to cash this play for us, I think is a very, very good play. So I absolutely love this Luka one. Next up, Heat versus Suns. We're taking Bradley Beal over 1.5 made 3-pointers, plus 110 odds at DraftKings. So this is another positive expected value play that I found on Betting Pros, projected to have 1.9, so essentially 2 3-pointers. In this one, 21.2% expected positive EV play, 56.6% chance that he goes over. I'm also laddering Beal up to 3 plus made 3-pointers as well. It's not quite as juicy as Collin Sexton. I still do quite like it. Now, this one is absolutely a fade of recent results. So Beal has only played 10 games this year due to injury. He's only made 2 or more 3-pointers in 3 games this year in 3 of 10, and he's missed it in 5 straight. So similar to the Anthony Edwards one, this is also somewhat of a Pepto play as well. It's going to feel a little bit queasy, but I do like this play for a couple reasons. Number one, it's not as though Beal has completely abandoned his jump shot, meaning he's still shooting. Last game against the Clippers, yeah, he didn't make a single three-pointer. He attempted 6. Earlier this year, he went 0 for 5 from deep against Oklahoma City. Obviously, yes, we need Beal to start hitting shots, but I love those attempts. And NBA season, it's a long season. Just because a three-point shooter, let's say they shoot 40%, doesn't mean they always go 4 of 10. It means some 0 of 6 games, and then it means some 5 of 6 games. On the year, Beal is only shooting 32% from 3. Aside from an outlier year where he shot 30%, he's generally 35 to 40% kind of guy. So I think the shots are going to start falling for Beal. It's also a very good matchup against the Heat. The Heat defense is good, but they allow a lot of three-pointers to guards. Beal is the shooting guard for the Suns. The Heat allow the second most made three-pointers to shooting guards in the entire NBA. So I think Beal is going to get up a decent amount of shots in this one, 5 to 6. And I'll take the law of averages with him starting to shoot better than he has. Hopefully he can get to 2. Hopefully he can get to more than 2 to cash our ladder play. So we're 9 picks deep. Before I get into the next one, I do finally want to talk to you about the Betting Pros app, bettingpros.com/apps. All the plays that I've mentioned, how I get them is from the cheat sheet. You can find recommended picks, Betting Pros recommended picks based on the current lines that the sports books are offering, and then the Betting Pros projections as well. So when you hear me say, oh, we're taking under 23.5, Betting Pros projects 20. That's from the prop bet cheat sheet. You can also tail all of my picks on the app as well, bettingpros.com/Modi. I mentioned that we're doing a 1-year premium subscription giveaway. You can also sign up for a free trial of the premium offering through the app, and it syncs with your sports books, which I think is awesome. You can sync your bets. You sync your bets through the different sports books through the Betting Pros app. So check it out, bettingpros.com/apps. 3 more picks to go to get us to 12. Next up, in the Pistons versus Warriors game, we are taking Cade Cunningham over 27.5 points. This is at plus 125 odds at DraftKings. I'm also laddering him up to 30 points as well. This ladder I'm taking for a half unit, not a quarter unit. I think last I checked, it was at plus 200 odds. So that one I am taking for a half unit as opposed to a quarter unit. And despite the fact that the Pistons have lost basically every game for 3 months now, Cade has been awesome. Wednesday stream, we were on his assists. Tonight's stream, we are on his points. He's gone over 27.5 points in 6 of his last games, 6 of 9. That's very nice. He's also scored 30 or more points 5 times in that stretch as well. Now he's going up against the Warriors, which not only are they on the second night of a back-to-back, maybe they're going to have tired legs, not defend as well. They are also a team that you want to target for opposing point guards. Last night, they allowed Jamal Murray to get to 25 points on an over-under of 21.5. Overall, the Warriors allow the 6th most points per game to point guards. So I like backing Cade tonight. I think he should continue to play well, have a good game tonight, cashing our official play, hopefully cashing our ladder play as well. Next up, Ja Morant. This is Grizzlies-Lakers game, I should say. In that game, we're taking Ja Morant over 27.5 points. This is at plus 115 odds at DraftKings. So technically, this was a play that I found on Betting Pros. Although I didn't take it at the main line, I decided to pump it up to over 27.5 to get better odds. The main line on this one is over 25.5. But Betting Pros projects him to score over 27 points. So it makes sense for me. That's why I decided to pump it up to get better odds. So similar to the Warriors, the Lakers are also a team that you want to target for opposing point guards. The Lakers are listed as the second easiest matchup in the NBA, specifically targeting point guard point total props. They have allowed 11 of the last 15 point guards against them to go over their point total over-under. Now that includes, whenever I say that stat, 11 of the last 15, whatever, that includes basically anybody on that position that the books are offering an over-under for. So bench guys, stars, role players, anybody listed as a point guard, 11 of 15 have gone over, 11 of the last 15, I should say, have gone over their point total over-under. So hope Ja can come through for us. Mr. Mechanical in the chat, thank you for joining. And then our last play, 12th and final pick of the evening, Raptors versus Kings game. De'Aaron Fox over 6.5 assists, plus 114 odds at DraftKings. This is a play. The Raptors give up a ton of assists, specifically to point guards. Over the past month, the Raptors are allowing literally the most assists per game to opposing point guards at 10.8. Now, this is not a situation where I wanted to pump it up any higher than 6.5. Fox generally pretty consistently gets to 7 or more, but he doesn't have a very high ceiling. He doesn't very often go above 6.5 assists, so I kept it just at this play, no ladder. Overall, he's gone over in 12 of 27 games, so not quite win percentage isn't quite in our favor, but that's also why we're getting it at plus money odds. On the year, Fox averages just over 6 assists per game at 6.1. So for this one, all he needs to do is go over his average by 1 assist, and he's going to cash this plus money banger. With the matchup against the Raptors, who hound you on defense but will leave guys open, I like for Fox to get us to 7+ assists as our 12th and final play of the evening. And that's all we got. 12 picks plus a couple ladder plays for you guys to tail. Appreciate everybody for joining us here. Appreciate you who commented in the chat. Make sure to like the stream, subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel, and then check out the Discord at bettingpros.com/chat. 1-year premium subscription giveaway is what we're running by commenting and subscribing. And then you can find the app, bettingpros.com/apps. You can find me any social media at Jedi Modai. Hope everybody has a great weekend and have a good one.